Hello, we are at Care-Peat Conference here, and I have with us the keynote speaker from United Nations. Could you please introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about your organization and the role in this topic, and also how does it relate to Care-Peat project?
Thanks so much. My name's Dianna Kopansky, and I lead the Global Peatlands Initiative on behalf of the United Nations Environment Program. That's a partnership, that's an international partnership with 47 members from around the world working to save peatlands as the world's largest terrestrial organic carbon stock. And Care-Peat is one of the projects that we look to as a partner that shares their experience on peatlands restoration, the advancement of figuring out peatlands economics, greenhouse gas emissions, and approaches that are appropriate for restoration. So Care-Peat is a group of individuals as well. They take a similar model of collaboration and transparency and bringing that research and practice knowledge together so that people like myself and also decision makers, policy makers have access to the best science and practice for peatlands. But peatlands are more than just peatlands. They're for carbon, they're for the climate action. They are critical for nature, water resilience, and just our planet. It's really quite an important ecosystem.
So as we talked to another speaker, peatlands are particularly important in Ireland because there's so many and they're part of the culture as well. But it's a global, I wouldn't say phenomena, but it's a global occurrence, right? Could you tell us a bit more how it looks like in the world in terms of peatlands and how they are now being maybe rediscovered as a way to combat the climate change?
Absolutely. So right behind me, luckily, we have the updated global peatlands distribution map. We're working hard as a partnership to actually update this and improve it, and currently doing a global peatlands assessment, which is the state of the world's peatlands. Peatlands are diverse. They're all over the world. Over 170 countries have them, and peatlands are unique because they're peat forming, but they might be an absolutely stunning wet rainforest, a swamp. They're called fens. In Canada, they're called muskeg. They are also at the coasts. But what's unifying about them and what's so important to unify and look at peatlands in a really sort of determined way is that regardless if these are tropical forested swamps in Indonesia or in the heart of the Congo basin or in the Boreal and Hudson Bay lowlands, wherever these ecosystems and types are occurring, they need special care. We have, as well as the United Nations Environment Program, together with partners, launched the Ecosystem Restoration Decade. And the aim of that decade, which is a commitment by all member states for action on restoration, is also to halt the further degradation and destruction of drainage and use of peatlands in a way that causes huge greenhouse gases. If you look at the map, they're not in very many places, right? They cover around 3% of the Earth's land surface area, but in those little patches, they are holding twice as much carbon as in every single forest across the world. Twice as much carbon in that little space, 3% of the world's land area. A fraction of those peatlands that we have identified are degraded, and 15% of that 3%, so 0.4% of the world's peatlands are damaged and drained and emitting greenhouse gases. That tiny fraction of the Earth's land surface area contributes to 5 to 6% of global greenhouse gas emissions. That's disproportionate. It's a tiny but mighty ecosystem. And as we see, actually, you might see this sort of glow of golden haze. There's a peat fire happening. So when peatland fires are happening around the world, those emissions double. So you have 0.4% of the Earth's land surface area that's degraded peatland, yet that's contributing 5 to 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions. That is off the charts with proportionality. So if we can do anything, if we should do anything urgently, we should do action for re-wetting, restoring, and halting the further destruction and use of peatlands.
So thank you very much. I think it's a very enlightening view on what peatlands are and how important they are. I think the awareness is quite low, especially among the general public. So I think this type of events really help, right, for people to understand better the nature of the issue. What do you think, how this event can contribute to bettering the world in this sense? Do you foresee this kind of event as the right way? Like, it's science-based, right? There is a lot of scientific posters here. Is it the right way?
Absolutely. I mean, the best action and the best policies and the best decisions need to be informed by science. We have the science. It's improving, and through sharing and joining up actually on the science, on the metrics, on the innovative ways that people are looking at creating carbon markets or even just approaches, by sharing peer-to-peer and across disciplines, that's when we're going to get the scale and activation that we need. And through conferences like this is where that happens. What I would love the scientific community to also do is share more. There is the secrecy of science, right? You don't share your results before they're published. But I think that in these sort of areas where it's collaboration rather than competition, we need to push that a little bit more, that actually scientists are knocking on people's doors before the science is perfect, because we have enough knowledge to know that the place and space that we're headed is detrimental. So let's activate, call on people, call on politicians, and also call on your purchases, right? Make your money count, but just be informed.
Thank you very much. That was great to having you. Thank you very much. And we look forward to see more happening in this domain. And as the awareness raises, hopefully we can restore the peatlands, which are so important for the world. Thank you very much.
Thanks.